this one says, consider the distance formula d equals 16t squared, where d is the distance in feet that an object travels and t is the time in seconds that it travels. How long does it take an object to travel 720 feet? All right, so we have our formula right here. I'm going to go ahead and write that down. D equals 16 times t squared. And we want to know how long it takes to travel 720 feet. 720 feet would go in for the letter D because that represents the distance. We couldn't plug 720 feet in for time because that's not a time. So I'm going to plug in 720 for D. And then my goal here is to solve it for time. I'm trying to figure out how long it takes. I'm going to go ahead and box off this t, and I'm going to box off t squared to begin with because I have to get rid of the 16 first. Right now I'm multiplying by 16, and the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I'm going to divide each side by 16. 16 divided by 16 is 1. You could write the 1 if you wanted to, but you don't have to. You can just write t squared. And then 720 divided by 16 is something. Let's see. Let me move this calculator over so we can still see what we're typing. 720 divided by 16 is 45. So t squared equals 45. That doesn't mean that it takes 45 seconds. We haven't finished solving for t yet. Right now, we only know that that's t squared. So then we have to ask ourselves, well, how do we get rid of that square? The opposite of squaring is square rooting. So we would square root both sides. The reason we would do that is because the square and the square root cancel, leaving us with just t. And remember, when we're solving equations, that is our ultimate goal, is to get the letter by itself. Now the square root of 45, let's see what that equals. We know it's not a perfect square, so it's going to be an irrational number, but it's about 6.7 seconds. Now, usually when we take the square root, we always have a plus or minus. There are two answers, but in this case, you can't do something for negative time. You can't go for negative 6.7 seconds. Wait, was it 6.7? I already forgot. Yeah, approximately 6.7. So our answer here would just be positive 6.7 seconds. And I put the squiggly lines because that is approximately the answer, not the exact answer. If they wanted the exact answer, you would leave it as the square root of 45.